Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. I am currently sitting in a hotel room, having a little bit of fun here. And someone asked a question about carrying some accessories and where do you carry them, belt, pocket, and stuff. And it reminded me of a story from boot camp. I spent a long and sleepless night once marching around in circles, actually, because I am a shitbird. And I had stuff in my pockets. Okay, you're not supposed to have stuff in your pockets. So the question here, of course, is why are you supposed to not have stuff in your pockets? Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It's not important why you're not supposed to have stuff in your pockets. Now, I know this is a Navy boot camp game and you're dealing with the military and, it's programming you, your programmed behavior to fit into a certain mold. That's actually very necessary, okay? Here's one of the things about military, but also some other job types. People die if you don't do things right. If you don't do the job, people die. Attention to detail. That's the Navy phrase for it. Paying attention to detail. I've noticed that no one in my life who has not been through boot camp, with the exception of a couple enlightened people, and there's an enlightenment factor to this, no one can just do a thing. Okay, if you're in charge, all right, sometimes people are in charge. Everything could be a consensus in a 5-hour meeting with a pot pipe and everything, but sometimes people are just in charge and you get stuff done. And you say, hey, I need you to move these cans. Well, it doesn't get done. Okay, this is a civilian thing because I haven't explained why. And then when I explain why, depending on the person, I often have to tell the story of what's going to happen all the way down 5 months down the road just to get gas cans moved across the yard. Well, if you move the gas can, what are we doing about this? What are we doing about that? It leads to this whole complex of thinky, need, figure, can't do. You're stuck in a loop. The squirrels, the free zoners are going to call it a figure loop. You get into figure, and then you can't do. No doing. This is one of those biggest things about boot camp, I think, boot camp training, and the putting stuff in your pockets, don't do it. Why? Doesn't matter why. Just don't do it. The ability to follow an order without having to have a story, make plans, getting stuck in a figure loop. The ability to just do is probably one of the best basic skills that you learn in boot camp. And there are other places to learn this. It's just that my experience with a lot of people who have not been through boot camp, the vast majority of people who have not been through boot camp, is that they've never learned it. And there are a lot of people who've been through boot camp who've unlearned it. And the longer you spend in the military, the more it seems to actually function. And it's a great thing. Now, there are times and places for discussion. There are times and places where you say, hey, I'm not sure you're actually in charge. But there are times and places where someone's in charge. Someone says, do this. You've got various reasons, okay? It's not about whether or not it's reasonable to have someone in charge. Just if you're in a situation where you've agreed to this, you've done this, okay? I joined the Navy. I signed a paper of my own free will. Wasn't drafted. I agreed to do this, so I learned how to just do. Now, some people I know in the Enlightenment community actually are really good at this too. But they're also really bad at it. So, because they haven't examined. And enlightenment doesn't mean self-examination. It means it's a certain sense of positivity and freedom. There's a non-symbolic stream consciousness experience. But it doesn't mean that you're self-reflective, okay? That's not necessarily a given, okay? It does actually help for, especially for Jeffrey's method, okay? Jeffrey's method with the 45 Days to Awakening course and his other courses, there's a self-reflection part that you do when you begin the courses, and I think it is very helpful. I think that alone, that actually, I know for a fact that alone has popped people into fundamental well-being, just doing the self-reflection. But it's not a given, okay? Being enlightened, it doesn't mean you're self-reflective, or it doesn't mean you've experienced self-reflection. So I know a lot of people in the enlightenment community who you say, hey, we need to move these gas cans. They're just like, boom, move the gas cans. Because they don't have a story. They don't have drama. They don't have a figure loop. Like, it doesn't exist in the head, you know? And I spend, it's kind of funny because I spend a certain amount of time having to do figure loops for creative reasons, where I find a shift as I grow with this whole enlightenment thing. I find a shift in how that works, but there are figure loops that can lead to action. That's a different conversation for a different day. Figure loops. Why? Don't worry about why. Just move the gas cans, man. Move the gas cans. You have to trust the people around you to be intelligent enough to not just be saying move the gas cans because whatever. I don't know. Like, come up with a nonsensical reason. Laugh about it. Maybe that'll help free you up from the need to figure. That's actually a technique. So I've known people in the enlightenment community who are very in the moment and will just do. Like, that's very cool. But if you're not in that state, then there's that training aspect. And it's very, very useful to be able to just do. Now, your associative group needs to be in a place where you can make the decisions. Like, this is a person where if they say, hey, we're butchering a pig, okay, someone's in charge, right? Whoever's got the most experience butchering says, look, do this. 3 or 4 people, boom, the job is done, it's all great. Go have, your tea or your beer or whatever. Fantastic. Someone's in charge. There's something to do. It's a very community-oriented thing because you're participating in the doing, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to present this as more or less a random thought that I had because we were talking about carrying stuff in your pockets, you know, people shooting themselves in the leg and stuff. And just do. Figure loops everywhere you go. Why is it that civilians just can't handle just do? Interesting question. Stay sideways.